Second leg of the crop tour on the 4th of July. Here I'm in the bean field, a bean field. This is the field I did a couple videos on about planting with the planter. And if you haven't seen that, you can check them out. I'm not gonna elaborate too much on all that. I've done video on it, but these were planted. I started June 2nd, later in the afternoon, early evening, and then finished on the 3rd of June. And this is what we've got now. Update I did on them back after I planted was when they were first, you could see rows, and as you can see now, there's definitely rows. Now I don't know if you can tell or not, but down along the edge and then down at the far end it's bare. That's the groundhog damage. And I won't go back up towards that tree, but up around that tree is bare because there's one that lives in that tree that's been eaten good. But these, I don't know, I'm happy with how they look. Here my rows got pretty tight where I'm twin 30s here. Try and get in a, and for whatever reason there's a little hump here, and this always grows real well. I don't know what the deal is with that, but and then you get on either side of it and it thins out. But I'm still in the twin 30s here. These are getting a little better. Here we go, there's a better spot. Okay, there's a spot where we're pretty close until you get down toward the end there. But once again, I'm thinking this got the better part of 2 inches of rain on it on Monday. This is Wednesday. And it must have it did come up pretty hard at times. As you can see, it's really wet right there. It'll wash down through here if we get a lot of rain. And actually, there's a hole over there in the middle of the field that had water in it. I forget when I saw or drove by that. It must have been yesterday evening or late afternoon after work. I came through there and there was some water laying, and this is about right in line with my house. If you go about three and a half miles west, the way I'm facing is my house. And like I say, we got 2 inches, and then last night, I don't know if we got a 1/10. I never looked in the gauge, but anyhow, I guess, let's see here once. Find a kind of an average spot here. Get away from that hump where they're a little taller. We'll just stay right in here. We'll find right here at this rock. We'll get that out of here, but I don't know. They're probably about 8 inches tall right there. And there's some that are a little higher, some are a little lower. These beans, I'll just about bet will not get knee high. The last year's beans didn't, although it was a whole different growing season. But I'm trying to think when that was. I think it was the second year I farmed this ground, and that was back before the building went in. They got 2 buildings up there now. This was a 30.5 acre field that I farmed for about 3 or 4 years before it changed owners, and then he built the warehouse on it and sold the front to be built. So there's only about 10 acres in here now, but back when it was the big field, I planted corn the first year, and the second year I wanted to no-till beans, but I had no means of doing it other than the corn planter. And like I say, I've said before, the setup I have on my corn planter is not ideal to plant into corn stalks. I guess if I took the fertilizer openers off, it wouldn't be horrible, but with the Yetter fertilizer openers, those things plug up in corn stalks like you wouldn't believe. That's why if I plant corn on corn, I'll try and turn that over with a moldboard plow to get all that trash buried, because if you chisel it where all that trash is on top, that stuff just plugs up like no one's business. But anyhow, I hired a guy to come in here and no-till beans. He had a Kinze 1223 planter, and he no-tilled it, and I think we were somewhere in 180,000 seeds an acre range. That's 15-inch rows, and the tallest beans in that field were knee high, and it averaged 40 that year. Of course, you know, every year is different. You don't always get a all the rain when you need it. But that wasn't a horrible year for this field, 40 bushel. But nothing got over knee high. And I've had beans before in other fields that were waist high or closer to chest high, but those beans had pods from the ground all the way to the top. And I think that's how they yielded what they yielded, because this fertility in this field is crap. And I won't put any lime on it because, like you see up there, had I put lime on it the first couple of years, it would have been a waste. So what I usually do is put some pellet lime in on my fertilizer. Like this field, I didn't have time to spread fertilizer, so I had to co-op do it. And I had them put 250 pounds of 923/30 to the acre and 100 pounds of pellet lime. I know pellet lime's only good for a year, but when you're only farming it year to year, you can't really afford to dump a ton of money of lime in it, because lime's pretty expensive. So I just go that route to. But anyhow, that's how this field's looking. I think they look all right. I got real good emergence. Pretty even emergence. There was some that came a little later than others, but it wasn't too bad. A lot better than with a grain drill. Sometimes with a grain drill, you get about half a stand until you get a good rain, because it seems like it always leaves a few on top that don't get buried or in your tire tracks or whatever. And then once you get some rain, them late one or those other ones will come up. Where with this way I planted these with the planter, it got everything was pretty close to an inch deep, what I was shooting for, and everything came up pretty quick, and they were up within 5 days, and 5 or 6 days, whatever it was, and got going right away, instead of, you know, part of them coming up and part of them waiting. Because I did get rain. I was thinking I had rain on this within a couple of days after planting. I finished on a Sunday, and I think we had rain. I don't know if it was Tuesday or Wednesday that following week. We had a little bit of rain, but it's still pretty clean field. There's a little crap on this edge here for whatever reason, but this was burned down. I believe it was the first week of May they came in here and burned this down. But up here, well, let me back up a little bit. About right here, you go down and then follow that way, and I don't know if you can tell or not, but it all hops up. This was all filled in, other than right on the edge here. But all this, there's probably an acre there close to it. That was all, they pushed dirt from that building and they filled in, because they filled in behind it down there. That's all filled in. And it's even, I sunk a planter a little deeper here. I put it to corn planting depth, because this is really hard up here, because they packed the crap out of it when they pushed it over here. And I tried to get them in a little deeper to get them into, at least get them covered up. There, I did a little crisscrossing down there. But these are even looking fairly good and coming up nice. We got pretty good emergence here, and they're a little thin in spots. You can see there's a lot of gravel and crap that's filtered to the top there. It's a little thinner there, but these up here last year, I'm thinking part of this I didn't even run the combine over, because there just wasn't anything there. But we were dry for like 6 or 7 weeks, all through July and into August, and that was right when we needed something to keep things rolling along and get pod fill and all that good stuff that we didn't get. So, but I don't know, I think it looks all right. As long as we keep getting some rain here. We've been extremely hot and humid. Upper 80s, some low 90s, with probably over 80% humidity. Somebody's texting like crazy. And so it's, I don't know, I guess ideal growing conditions. I might have to bring my little sprayer over here and hit this edge. Knock this down. They're not mowing out all the way out. I don't know if I didn't plan out that far, but anyhow. So yeah, it's coming along. We've had heat and moisture to make everything grow. So I got one more field of corn I'm going to get into, So stay tuned, I'll be back in a little bit.